It's nice to think that this is gonna all be pot sometime soon.
Yes, that's the goal.
Chad King is hoping to produce one of the first legal marijuana grows in Mississippi.
Where we're standing right now will actually be the flower rooms. We'll have all of our extraction labs and things over here. So this is a big endeavor, but this is a really good start for Mississippi.
Mississippi might be the last place you'd think to legalize pot, but voters overwhelmingly supported a ballot measure in 2020. And later this year, medical marijuana will be for sale in a state that only just removed the Confederate cross from their state flag.
Come on, babies.
Woo, here they go.
You want to get an egg?
Yes?
Come on.
While making plans to grow pot, Chad and his business partner Kelly Williams also happen to be family defense lawyers.
How did this decision come about? Because it seems like you guys are public defenders, you know, social justice warriors, I guess, and now you're pot capitalists?
Really wasn't a huge jump, though.
Yeah.
You know, when you spend so much of your time trying to educate judges and youth court personnel on marijuana, it was just sort of like an organic, natural shift.
I imagine when people are in the child welfare system, it's like not a particularly good time in their lives.
You're right. Typically, people are in crisis. They're the most vulnerable that they're going to be in their entire lives, and they're at risk of losing their children.
I mean, I think a lot of people might think that if you're at a point where CPS is coming to your house, you must have done something wrong to some degree to have that kind of intervention, like good people don't have their kids taken away from them. Is that right?
No, not at all.
That's a huge misconception.
What we found is that the majority of cases that come in are neglect. They're not these egregious physical abuse cases, sexual abuse cases. They're for things that are usually poverty related.
The neglect statute in Mississippi is very broad. It includes very serious allegations like when a child is malnourished or left alone for days, but it can also be as simple as having your water shut off or not having warm coats for your kids. Drug use also falls under neglect, and for years, CPS, or Child Protective Services, would separate families if the parent simply tested positive for pot.
You can estimate just thousands and thousands and thousands of families that were probably ripped apart based on nothing other than a positive test for marijuana. I have lots of really great friends that are just incredible parents that also use marijuana. And but for them being white or having some money, they wouldn't have their kids and they would be in a youth court system.
Youth court functions differently than criminal court. Parents aren't automatically given a lawyer, and charges don't need to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And even though these allegations aren't always grounds for arrest, parents are facing an extreme punishment, having their children removed from their care. I'm on my way to meet one of Chad's clients. She had her 5 children taken away by CPS because she tested positive for pot.
Y'all can come on in and
Hey,
look.
thank you. Love the little puppy.
Sarah lost her kids for nearly 4 years after a drug test in youth court came back positive.
I got this tattoo because I didn't have my kids. And I always slept like this, so I'm thinking it's my kids to my heart. I'm close to my kids.
Tell me what it was like that day they were taken away from you.
That's an emotion you don't reckon with when it comes to a mom and her babies. You know, my heart dropped. I just went into complete confusion. I did not know what to do. I broke down.
Sarah called me and she was telling me, you know, it's been almost 4 years and I don't have my kids back. And it's because I went to court and I tested positive for marijuana. And I've been fighting with the agency for 4 years. And of course I was skeptical. I thought, you know, that is crazy if that's true. She was right, 100% right. She had come to court for an abuse allegation that was ultimately dismissed. There was no evidence that it actually happened. And so while she was there, she was drug tested. And she had tested positive for marijuana. And they had removed
Just marijuana.
Marijuana, all 5 of her children.
In 2017, Chad and Kelly helped write a law preventing removals based solely on parental cannabis use. And in 2018, Chad was able to help Sarah get her kids back. But ever since, she has struggled to keep them out of the system.
Imagine growing a child inside of your body, working your butt off as a waitress the entire pregnancy. Now, they're my babies, you know. I'm supposed to have those memories, not somebody else.
Just because of pot.
Yeah. It's crazy because now it's legal. So it's like all that for nothing. It's like all of that for nothing.
Cases like Sarah's aren't just happening where pot is still criminal. In Illinois, recreational weed became legal over a year ago, and parents still risk losing their kids because of the drug.
I can't even tell what's in these boxes. Such slick packaging. This is weed, I think.
Diana, do you have a hybrid or a sativa pre-roll for me?
Quite the operation you got here.
It's good. Business
Big.
is good. Yeah.
People are excited about
Yeah.
pot in Illinois.
Yeah, they are. It's a very regulated market,
Yeah.
as you probably know.
Sure.
Highly regulated. And there are some rules. You know, it's a privilege to come in and buy cannabis, in my opinion.
Just 20 miles south of this dispensary, Savannah McGuire recently bought a home,
Hi.
hoping that soon her 3 children will be returned.
This is like the cutest house I've ever seen. There's plenty of room for all of us, so.
She initially lost her kids for a non-criminal neglect allegation and was on track to get them back after about 7 months had she not tested positive for marijuana. Her kids have now been gone for nearly 2 years.
Is it lonely?
It was more emotionally draining trying to get through that and trying to keep a happy face and make it through it.
What do you mean keep a happy face?
If you show any sign to DCFS that you are slipping, they will make it that much harder to get your kids home. But any parent that loses their kids after being a mother for 7 years is gonna be a little bit emotionally unstable. And they don't allow you room to be human and make errors. So it's just really frustrating.
More than 80 legal dispensaries have opened in Illinois in the past year, and Savannah's attorney, Jay Lindsay, says cases like hers are on the rise.
When did it ring to you that, like, wait, this isn't just an isolated incident, this is a widespread problem?
It just kept getting worse. I would say out of the 70 or 80 juvenile court cases I had, cannabis was at least some factor in probably 50, 60% of my cases. So we started reading the law that was passed in Illinois, which was January 1st, it became effective, 2020. And that statute could not be clearer. You may not consider cannabis use, possession, whatsoever in a DCFS case.
So why are kids being taken away or kids being kept away if parents test positive for pot? Why are they even testing them for pot?
I think it's impossible to reverse 50 or 60 years of cultural norms for people. There is a deeper cultural perception that it is just inherently wrong, that you are a lesser person, you're not as good a parent.
Is this a forgotten front in the war on drugs?
I suppose. I mean, after all, it's sealed. The transcripts are sealed. The court proceedings are sealed. And so because it's all happening behind closed doors and no one sees it, I think that it allows a lot to take place in the shadows.
Youth courts across the country are highly secretive. It can even be hard for parents to access their own records, leaving the most vulnerable parents with very little recourse.
Tell me about your situation with DCFS right now, about your case.
The only safety concern in my case is cannabis use. No other concern has ever come up, and I do everything that they want me to do.
Kia is one of Jay's clients. She grew up in foster care, and although she's 19, she's technically still in the system. According to a study from the University of Chicago, parents who have children while they are still in care themselves are more than twice as likely to have their children removed. Kia's baby was taken away at just 4 months old.
I was employed, I was doing every service, so they brought up that I had used marijuana. I thought kids came into care for abuse and neglect, and I was very confused.
Do you feel like you can get her back?
That's a hard question. I feel like DCFS believes there should be 2-parent homes. And, you know, I'm kind of a target because I am young and Black and a single mother with no family.
Do you feel punished?
I do feel punished. I feel punished for having a baby young. I feel punished for smoking weed.
Millions of lives have been seriously hurt because people were arrested for possession of marijuana.
As legalization sweeps across the US, every progressive politician is racing to denounce over-policing and mass incarceration.
The whole war on drugs was a complete failure, and we have criminalized whole populations of people.
Built into nearly every cannabis legalization program across the country is a way to address the damages caused by the war on drugs. There's movement to remedy family separation too, but the silencing effect of confidential court systems makes it hard to move the needle.
Best case scenario, the kids come home this afternoon. Worst case scenario, they just extend the court date out longer.
Savannah stopped smoking cannabis after her unsupervised visits were taken away. She doesn't drink, and she's had at least 6 totally clean drug screens in the past 8 months. Today, Savannah has a court hearing to determine if she will get custody of her kids back.
It is hard to get excited before court because you never know what's going to happen. And if you get excited, you'll be disappointed at the end if it's not what you thought. So really, I'm just anxious. Are you guys excited? We're gonna go home.
Savannah regained custody of her 3 kids on a trial basis for the next 60 days. One tiny misstep and her kids could go back into the system.
My stomach's doing backflips, I'm shaking. Doesn't feel like this is real.
I love you. Love you. I can't wait to stay here forever.
I mean, I'm kind of terrified that they're gonna come back in and take them again.
Pot's now legal here in Illinois. Do you think you'll ever feel like it's legal for you?
I don't think I'll ever feel safe or comfortable smoking marijuana again. It doesn't feel fair, but at the same time, like, I would never want to lose my kids again.
I missed you.